All right, guys, we are here with the first iteration of our Season 13 tier lists. We are starting off with D line. As we talked about, we're going to be releasing every position over the course of the weekend, along with a rookies tier list to get some people excited about some new people into the league. We are running this off of whoever signed up with D line as their number one position. So we have quite a few names to get through, so they might be a little quick, but we want to make sure we get everyone and include everyone who signed up. So, if you have anything else to say before we start.
Just so the way we're breaking it down is we're only allowing three different users in each slot, so three S tier, three A tier. The reason we're doing that is because first come, first serve. Obviously, if we throw someone in S tier, then we see someone later that should have been an S tier, you're gonna get fucked over and have to be thrown in A. But it's gonna stir the pot a little bit, get everybody talking, and yeah, we're just trying to get you guys as much as we can as far as media goes out before the draft. Help some of the newer owners maybe that haven't scouted as much. Give somebody to go off of, generate a little bit of hype. And then, like he said, with the rookie one, we're going to do that one after they've been drafted because we don't have much to go on. So we're going to go on, the environment they've been drafted into rather than the player themselves because we just don't know shit about them. So with that, we can start off with the whichever one Jay grabs first.
All right, we'll start with Call Me Kyle, just to get him off this little floating island over here. So, I don't really know Call Me Kyle much. I don't know if. I assume he's been in the league prior, but I don't really have much familiarity. I don't know if I've ever played with him. So, do you have any history with him, or what are your knowledge
I
with
know
that?
he's probably going to be pissed off because he was an S tier right there to start just because he was
Yeah,
hanging
that's
out from the
that's why I felt like I need to get him out before he got all hyped up. I don't want, you
and
know.
he sure as shit won't be staying in S tier. No offense to Kyle, but same as with you. I've seen the name around. I know he's been in for a while, but I really don't know much of his success or of his failures in the league, really. So I think that's as C tier as it can get. Right? He's might not be shit, but he also could be complete ass. So
Yeah,
without knowing, I don't.
right. I suppose if we've never heard his name, we haven't heard much bad about him either. So I haven't heard anyone else, in other channels talking crap about him or complaining about him as a teammate. So all right, we'll slap him right off in C to start with. It's not a
Yeah,
bad
maybe he's just a fucking. Maybe he's a glue guy,
middle
right?
ground. Yeah. Hey, personality hires. I ain't gonna knock him. All right, next up we have JT. Now here's another one. I guess this is a kind of a bad start here. I'm not too familiar with the name. I don't know if
I
I've
think
even
JT's a rookie.
seen him. Okay.
I think he's a rookie, so it's hard to say good or bad about a rookie, but I'm glad you've joined the league, and hopefully we can get you on a team this season and showcase some of your talents. But because we literally have nothing to go off of, you're just going to be thrown in the question mark tier.
All right. So if you're not a rookie, we apologize for not being familiar with your game. Hopefully you can be the comeback player of the year here, huh? So up next, let's pluck a name. Let's go with Black Super Saiyan. We've had a few games with him. We've scrimmed against him a few times. We've practiced with him a couple times. He's been in the Discord. Definitely a solid player. I think if I was kind of putting my vote out there, I definitely think he's in probably the upper half. Maybe not quite. I don't know if he's definitely not C or S. I want to put him in S. He might be kind of breaking the B to A realm in my mind. What are you thinking with him?
I think we're right there on the same exact page. Black's a great player, good vibes guy. He shows up to all his games. Good banter with the guy, but and he gets a lot of pressure. Sometimes he maybe takes a few plays off or things of that nature. But he has been heavily praised for his D line prowess. He was a good running back prior to this, but he's a QB now. So I'm thinking D line is kind of where his bread and butter is. And having him on the teams a few times, I know he can be a game changer. So let's put him as the first guy in A tier.
A tier, all right, taking the jump. I like it.
I
Spreading
think he
out,
was
spreading
he
out the
was
ratings.
high A, low B, but because it's so open now, he's going to claim that A spot, and maybe that'll screw somebody else into B.
Like you said, pays to be early. And also, like you said, I mean, you play as a quarterback, you know what's getting to a quarterback's head. So you put him on the D line, he's going to know how to attack that quarterback. So definitely interesting to see how that's going to turn out. All right. So plucking another rando off here. B Wall. We got B Wall 3565. Here we go. What are your thoughts on B Wall?
B Wall's a good player. He gets a bad rap from a few people because he's got a strong personality. I think he's super fun to be in a party with, super fun to play with, just because he's shooting the shit the whole time. Maybe not as serious as some people would like, but I think that's better. I would say B-Wall is a tough instance because just like Black, where he was hovering that B to A, I think B-Wall is slightly below where Black is as far as skill wise on the D line
Mhm.
goes. I think he hovers that high C to B, but just glancing at the list quick, I think he slots comfortably into B.
All right, we'll slop him right into B, and right out the gate, we already got in a situation where a different order, maybe we would have saw some things shake out different. But next up, let's take Kuro. So Kuro's an interesting one because, from what I understand, he played DB last season, not D line. I know we didn't quite have a position lock the same last season, so everyone was kind of a little bit of all over and could pick up some different plays. But I know he got his stats. He was wreaking havoc on quarterback anytime he plays any team. He's a problem. We've played against him in games, and he's made our days miserable. Absolutely, not only miserable to play against, but being a D lineman myself, knowing I was going up against him every week, I was like, I know this is a big matchup, and I know he's gonna get his stats over me, and I know I'm gonna hate myself for it. So just for that reason alone, I would make the claim he might be the first S tier off this list.
Yeah, I agree. Kuro has always been a great player. I don't know if he played last season. I know he's played here and there. He's a position lock
Okay.
guy. As soon as he heard position lock was back, he came back.
Okay, that might have been what I
He's
was misunderstanding
he's
with that
always
one.
been a strong D lineman. I remember when we were in the Super Bowl, they had the Rams and we had the Packers, and every time we played Crows, like you get the ball out in 2 seconds, or Aaron Donald's, dropping his nuts on your face. So Crows, he's a good player. He's going to put up stats. Whoever he goes to, better have a good D line because he's going to make everybody else's lives hell. So I think he's comfortably the first S tier guy we have.
All right, agree with that one. Drop him in. And you're right. You're right. I think it was Nate that switched positions there. I think I was miss crossing some wires on that one. But so next up, another familiar name I've seen a few times. We got Smitty. Smitty's a great guy. He's a good time. He's like you said, he could be a good glue. He can really change the attitude of Discord around. What are your thoughts on his on the field performance?
Um, Smitty's one of the more passionate players in the league. He's vying for that Super Bowl, and he'll get it. He'll get it for sure. But as far as skill wise goes, Smitty's a really good teacher. He knows how to teach people how to play D line, which I think that adds a little bit of level of, credibility and value when you draft him because
Yeah.
not only is he going to play well, but he's going to be able to teach the rest of the guys who maybe aren't as adept as he is, who play D line pretty well. So I think that Smitty falls. He's got sneaky stats too. Looking at his stats from last season, he was like, there was two guys that were at the top, and then there was Smitty right there hanging with him. So he could make a case for D lineman
Absolutely.
of the year this season if he gets off to a good start. So this could be a controversial take, but I'm gonna throw Smitty in the A tier.
A tier. All right. Jumping ahead of some pack there. I'm sure Smitty appreciates the love, but with that, higher expectations. We're gonna be watching these articles, these videos. We know where you got ranked here. You better live up to it. All right. Next up, the Gum Father. Now I believe he had a bit of a name change. We know a few athletes lately. We kind of see a lot of people throwing that around these days. But Gum Father, I don't know if I would quite want to speak on the name change, but being one to announce the name, I want to say thank you, Gumfather. I appreciate you wholeheartedly. So, with that being said, performance wise, not too familiar with his game. What are your thoughts?
Um, I believe he played a while ago. I think he's one of the vets that's making a return.
Okay.
And
No
he's kind of been in
disrespect,
here.
Gumfather. An
He's been in here
OG.
a little sporadically, but he yeah, I'm glad that his game is no longer, directly correlated with being 3 inches in my sister because I just don't know if that's quite enough. But
Ugh.
it's better to be 3 inches in than not in at all, right?
Hey, it's a game of
And
inches. So three adds up. That being said, it's
I
easy to
would
come
throw
up
him.
short in this league.
Yeah, I guess. So looking at the rest of the list, I think with that, I'm gonna throw him respectfully 3 inches in the D tier.
D tier? Alright. Fuck 3 inches.
Not because he's bad, but because I
But
don't know a
because
whole
he
lot about him.
because he ain't swole enough.
And yep, and the gamer tag, and he's really not working with a lot of tools there if he's only got three. So,
uh, you know,
um, I mean, 3 inches of
hey.
snow is not even a lot
Yeah,
of
I mean,
snow.
I mean,
So
you
it's
look at
like,
Brady, you look back, and you say, what was he working with? And the way it's sometimes it's about how you use it. You look at Purdy, what he can do with what he's got. Could be a sleeper pick out there.
Well, I
But
mean, Purdy's kind of a case of a natural 3 inches with, with a bunch of BBCs around him to help get the job done.
that's true. That's fair. You
So
know,
if you
they
surround
warm him up. He
Gumfather,
just kind of cleans it up. That might be
yeah.
okay. You're right. You're
So if you
right.
surround Gumfather with some BBCs per se of the league, then he'll go in there, clean it up, and finish it off.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you pair him with like a black Super Saiyan, if you will, or something to that effect. I mean, who knows what could happen?
When picking a
All
commerce
right.
platform, you have two
Well,
choices.
our music's hitting an ad here, folks.
That's the sound
Let
of
me mute that for a second. All right. So next up,
You can just wait. You can just wait and cut it, right?
it's 2-1.
audio.
We sat through it. Okay. Next up, we'll take Nikki Bear. That's another name I'm not sure I've seen before. Nikki Bear. Do you
I've
have
heard of
any?
Nicky Bear. I believe he's a rookie.
Okay.
So this might make Nicky sicky, but he's going to be in the question mark.
Right. Again, apologize if you're not a rookie and we're just, not super familiar with their game. But
And if you're
just
not a
another
rookie and we
opportunity.
haven't heard of you, that means it's probably better to be in the question mark for anyways.
Possibly, possibly. All right, so let's take another. I started mentioning him a little bit earlier. I kind of misspoke a bit. Nate. Nate here, I believe he was the one I was thinking of that was previously a defensive back, switched to D line. But I don't think that switch is going to be much of a problem. What do you think about Nate?
No, Nate he signed up at D line. He's going to be prolific at D line. He's going to have a really good line with him. Now Nate is the GM for Hoochie, who got the Ravens. The Ravens have a really
Right.
solid D line as is, and there's going to be a bunch of blitzes coming out of that defense. I'm already sure of it. So his stats are going to be super high. He's going to be putting the other quarterbacks in hell. And I think Nate is one of those guys that no matter where he plays on defense, he's going to excel. And D line's probably the best position for him. So I would throw him right up in S tier next to Crow.
S tier. All right. Well, if my sources, my stats are correct, reports say he was also the defensive coach, which I think really just kind of takes you up that second level. If you're able to call those plays and be the coach while balling out like that, your value to your team skyrockets with that alone. So I can agree with it.
I'm gonna make the call for this next one. I'm gonna cherry pick somebody out of there.
Okay.
I want the next two to be. Let's go, Painkiller and then Outtaker.
Painkiller. All right, so we'll start off with Painkiller. And obviously, you're quick to jump on him. So what's got you so ready for Painkiller out here, huh?
I mean, his stats were incredible, right?
They
when you
were.
think
I mean,
of,
you're top of the
you
charts.
think
You're
of,
top of the charts. What more? What more can you do?
he's like when you think of Fear Painkiller, and if somebody asks you, oh, is that guy any good at D line? You just reply with something along the lines of, does the Tin Man have a sheet metal cock, right? It's synonymous. They all kind of go one to one. Yeah, he's great at D line. He doesn't bitch a whole lot either. He's a good player. He always ends up on really good teams. And I remember even a few seasons ago in the last Madden, he was on the Panthers, and him with Brian Burns it was miserable, right? So Painkiller's a good player, and he's actually pretty good on offense too. So he's one of those guys that's just all around going to make the team better. And I would, based off stats don't lie, right? Women lie, men
Stats
lie,
don't lie.
stats don't lie.
They do
So I
not.
think with that being said, he belongs right up there in the S tier as the last guy to round out our S tier.
All right, clean it up the S tier early. I certainly
Yeah,
can't,
which
deny that.
which
You're
could
top of the
leave some people.
leaderboards. You get all the
You know,
stats. You get the accolades to go with it.
and
Absolutely.
another thing is too, if somebody else that we thought might be S tier came out before him, it could be a completely different list. So if a tier's filled up and you might have been able to be slotted in there, unfortunately, you're going to be a tier down. So
So we'll see how it all plays out. All right, and you said you wanted to do the accountant. All right, so we got the accountant
I was
here.
think
Is that what you
I was
said, or was that?
thinking more Outtaker, but
Oh,
we can go
outtaker. No,
accountant.
sorry, my misunderstanding. We'll go with outtaker 24. Now you
Um,
think? Let me ask you something. You think these players are renaming them just for the year? Is that what's happening here? All these 24s, or do you think that's just a coincidence? Do you think they change it
um,
every season? Think they update that?
no, probably just some sort of Kobe fetish, if I had to guess.
Oh, didn't even think of that. Here we are in the VFL. Ugh. All right. Well, on to outtaker. What are your thoughts on? Well, I mean, if he's over here spending all this time focused on basketball, I think we're gonna start shifting down here a little bit, right? I mean, get your head in
Uh,
the game, guys. All right, go ahead. Sorry. Getting out of rant.
Thought Taker's he's a good player. That's really all there is to it. He's a good player. He's one of those ones that if he played more consistently, not as far as time in the game, but as far as like seasons go, if he played more consistently, he'd be an S tier every day of the week. But unfortunately, he's not an S tier on Thursdays when we're or Fridays when we're recording this, right?
Right.
So that spot's all filled up. So I expect him to come back and do really well. As long as he's happy with the team he's on, he's gonna perform to the best of his abilities. And I think he's the last guy that rounds out our A tier.
All right, stacking the top early here, getting a little top heavy.
There's a lot of good players.
There certainly is. All right, so if you don't have any other preference, I guess I'll go next with the accountant. Already had him ready. Already teased him a little bit with that one. So you have any experience working playing with the accountant here?
Yeah, Accountant is he's one of those guys that came into the league and he was immediately serviceable at D line, and then he just played running back as well. Because typically when you come into the league, you don't want to take on the brunt of playing quarterback anyways.
Right.
So he found himself at D line, which is what he excelled at, and now he plays quarterback. So that
Oh.
maybe worries me. I'm not sure because it's like
You know, if
is
he can
that
handle the
pressure
pressure.
from
Yeah.
offense going to kind of get him to maybe not play it on defense the way he should? Is he going to be in his head a little bit? Is the momentum going to shift if he plays poorly on offense to where, the home team has improved blocking and then he's going to have, the worst time in the world trying to get back there. Um, so Count's a good guy. He's a great player too. I'm in between high C, low B here. But I think
I see. If
what
I
I'm
if I can interject a little bit, I don't mean to throw off what your scales are. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't speak up here. You know, I gave other players a boost for being a quarterback on D line, thinking that quarterback D line connection would give them some inside secrets. So I think you're underrepresenting the value that getting chased by a D line and chasing with a D line can bring to your scheme. You see how quickly they come off the line. You see, inside pressure, outside pressure, speed on the edge. You're gonna know how much fatigue affects those players because you're playing with those players. So I think he might see a little more of an edge than you're giving him credit for. But I'll let you continue.
No, yeah. So like I said, I was in between C and B, and if you think him playing at quarterback's actually going to help him understand D line a little bit better, and understand how to get to the quarterback and more tendencies, then I think he's fine right at B.
All right, glad to make that sway there. The accountant, I'll put my Venmo in the chat after this. Feel free, no pressure. All right. Any preference here? I'm running. These names are getting less familiar as I go down here. Deceased
Let's
Sword. Do you have any? Unless you have a preference, we can skip ahead. I don't mean to.
we can do Deceased Sword, and he's gonna die on the sword of never being heard of before, assuming because he's a rookie, right? So
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
I'm hoping he's a rookie because otherwise I just shit on the guy for no reason.
And it's kind of
So
been the trend of this. A few of these names we don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna
so
happen. It's kind of your job to make us hear about you, not the other way around. Just throwing
right.
that out there.
But I will say, as far as the rookie D linemen go, he's probably my number one pick for the best out of those three down there, just because
Mhm.
his name's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's fair. I can get on board with that. Get on board
I
with
think
that.
he's the
We'll make
best
it. We'll
in
make
this
it look
trade.
that way. This is in no way first to last, but in this one, it now is just for that sake. All right. So who are you ready to Edward talk about before I interrupted you last
To
time?
get this work,
Get this work. All right. Get this
uh,
work. 1018.
all right. So Willie
Not quite
is,
24/7, which is all right. Sus. Get your
uh,
grind on, but it's okay.
for 10 hours of 18 days of the month, he's getting this work, and
That
he's
ain't
taking
bad.
the other. He's relaxing the
That
other
ain't
days. You
bad.
work 10-hour days, you relax the other ones,
That's a
right?
long day. It's a heavy day.
So this is Willie. He's a great player. He's good on both sides of the ball. I think Willie might be one of the first players to actually become subject to not being picked earlier, right? It pays to be early, and Willie was one of the last guys off the board here. So I think he's unfortunately late to work, and he's going to get a pay
Uh,
cut because of it. Because he very easily could have been in the A tier, but he almost missed the B tier too if he would have came up
he
later.
almost
But
did. If I plucked a few
I
other people ahead of you there, we might have seen a different story here.
So I think Willie's gonna, slot out the B tier pretty handsomely here. He's a good player, and he's played same position forever, so he knows the ins and outs of it. And he's just one of those players that I think he goes overlooked a lot, but he always brings to the table exactly what you want from him, and that's exactly why he's a B tier and could have been an A tier had he been picked earlier.
Hmm. I'm seeing a coming issue, but we'll get to that after.
I have a coming issue with that.
Alright, we'll figure that out. Alright, so up next, let's go with. I mean, we already saw someone that's late for work. How about someone who never practices? You know, when you got
Yeah.
a name like that, I don't know if you're just subverting expectations and you're looking to be an all-star, or if you're just letting people know early, like, this is who I am. Either way, I can appreciate the hustle with that. But what are your experiences with someone who never practices? We have a tendency to short a practice or two.
Yeah, I
Gotta stay
I don't
fresh.
practice. I don't practice. It's always been a downfall last season.
I don't
didn't practice
stretch.
and we won one game. So by way of him not practicing now, if I'm not mistaken, he used to be a hell of a DB, and now he's at D line. He might have made that switch a little bit ago, but I know when I first came into the league, he was a DB, and just for the sheer fact that he doesn't practice, I kind of want to throw him in D tier just for that. But he's at the very least C tier caliber.
All right.
And he honestly could have made a case for B tier as well, but you're late for work and you don't practice. That
I mean, you
coach isn't
just
gonna like that.
you like dress for the job you want. Practice like you play, and you come in here with a name like never practices, and you think we're gonna throw you in an S tier.
Right?
Uh,
He showed up in a hoodie to an office interview. It's like
You ain't Bill. You can't do it if you ain't Bill. That's it. Point
Right.
blank, can't do it.
Even our janitors don't wear hoodies, so I don't even know what position you're dressing to want.
I don't know. All right, let's steal this guy. Unglued Tiger, 360. All right, what are you thinking about Unglued Tiger?
I think he came in last Madden when we were using the shitty teams. I believe he played with Kool-Aids on the Commanders, or maybe they were the football team at the time. I don't
So it's
fucking
hard to
know.
even read what happened that season. Then that was a wild ride.
And I haven't played. I played last season, obviously we did, but we didn't play in the bring your own crew or the pay to play season. So
Right.
it's hard to really put a gauge on him. I know he was a good player when he was around, but just because of the sheer
Yeah,
fact
we're
that
running
we
out of-
don't know a lot about him and we're running out of space, I think he's going to fall victim to. He wasn't even late to work; he just didn't show up to work. So
Yeah.
he's gonna have to. I think, looking at the rest of the list, I'm deliberating pretty hard here, but we're gonna go ahead and throw him in D tier.
All right. So, given that we're kind of running out of spaces here, I'll let you call who you're plucking here first.
All right, yeah, because we only have one spot that we can put in C, and I want to make sure that this guy gets there. I want you to grab Behe for me.
Good old Behe. Bam, in C.
Throw him in D tier.
Throw child,
Now,
please.
back that off.
Oh.
Throw B. I want you to grab Behe and throw. him
Oh,
in
you
D
want me
tier.
to throw him in the garbage, huh? Oh, poor guy. Oh,
No,
you
no.
even duped
I mean-
me with that one.
There's murmurs going around that this potentially was what your replacement was.
Oh, what the fuck? What the
So, I'm not
fuck?
saying it's me. I'm not saying it's you. There's no ill will.
All right, let me write this
But-
name down. We stat hunting this season, boys. We stat hunting this season. I'm coming
I
for
would
you.
say that this guy, he's got a target on his back now, and that that fucking hick bastard, that bumpkin fuck that he's playing with. They better hope they don't line up against us. Is all I'm saying.
Damn right, I'm looking forward to those games. I'm hoping Riggs gets that running back because I'm about to fuck his whole season up.
I'm hoping that we're on separate teams.
Ugh.
That way we can both just feed him a win.
Oh,
or
we
feed him a
better
loss
be on
each.
separate teams.
I'm
Oh, I
saying
see what
you
you're
and
saying.
me.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
cool. I would be cool with that too. We're gonna hold him to his
Just
worst
fucking-
stat year. He's gonna get dropped from the league by the time we're done with him.
Anytime I see Riggs on the schedule, I'm telling my owner, give me that one.
Give me that. Let me at him. Let me at him.
And for the next one,
All right.
Child's a good player,
Child,
but all we got left
please.
is C. So sorry, Child, but please sit your ass in C tier, okay?
All right. Now, here we are. Everyone's off the board. You might notice something seems a little fishy about this. We've been talking here and there. I've mentioned I've played D-line. He talked about me matching up against Riggs. So we still have one person here to name. It'd be, a little uncool of me to not put myself on this list. So here I am. Every single tier is open. My own teammate. My own teammate who brought me into the league. Full on true assessment. Where are you throwing me on this list? Keep in mind, we may or may not end up on the same team.
Hold on, I think my mom's calling.
No, I've already been on the phone with her plenty. Don't worry. She's busy.
Yeah, no, she's fucking busy. Shit. All right, so let me keep it as fucking black and white here, as cut and dry as I can.
That's all I ask.
Jake is a boomer bust player. He's either going to get after the quarterback, like, you know, they owe him money, or he's gonna shit in the woods. There's a few games where he gets fucking tied up, he can't do nothing, and then there's a few games where it's like, I don't even have to cover anybody because he's gonna be laying the load, right?
That's a fair assessment.
I think because of that, he's got a lower floor but a higher ceiling than a lot of these guys. So I'm gonna throw you in B tier.
B. All right. I was thinking I was like a kind of in between B and C. I wouldn't have been surprised if I got thrown a C there. So I'll take that. A little grain of salt, you know, teammates and all. But I appreciate that. I've definitely had some stinker games out there, but you know, personality hire out here. Try to keep the squad together, keep them together in tight games, and the games were not so close as well. But all right, with the addition of me rounding out the pretty much flat middle of the pack here, that about sums up season 13 D-line tier list pre-draft. Do you have any other comments on any of these players? Do you think anyone might sky up by next season? Anyone who you think might tank down to the bottom by next season? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that somebody like Tiger is going to be, at the end of the season, he will be higher than what he is here. We'll do another set of these, a series of these after the season, just to see where people improved and things like that. I think Tiger's my pick to go up further. He kind of fell victim to being later in the selection, and then the one guy I think will probably drop out, probably below the floor, is Meow Minotaur.
Oh, fuck you. All right, whatever, man. All right.
So yeah, let us know, guys, if you have any discrepancies, what you love, what you hate. I know because of the format we used, it's going to cause a lot of people to get pissed off, maybe some to be happier than others. But that's kind of what we're going for. We want to spark up some sort of debate here. So, you know, just let us know what you think of the list and how shitty it is.
Yeah. And, you know, stay tuned as we continue to release other positions. And soon, remember, the player draft is on the 15th. It is at 6 p.m. Eastern Time to give us plenty of time for all of the events that are going to take place. So thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.